Talking biscuit boy, proud. Static crackles like a rattlesnake's tail. Voices rolling like a freight train wheel. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, talking live love and southern joy. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, raise your glass, make some noise. Gravy drips in the southern drawl. Stories thick like the cypress tall. Radio rebels riding wild and free, shouting truths like a storm at sea. Hey, hey, can you feel that beat? Boots on the floor, fire in the heat. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, talking live love and southern joy. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, raise your glass, make some noise. Tells the dirt roads, whiskey skies that cut through the night like fireflies. Laughter echoes through the pines, two voices cross them county lines.
Yeah. And we have landed, or taken off, or however you want to say it.
However you want to put it. Good morning.
Good morning, all. Welcome to the Cornbread Man and Biscuit Boy morning show. We just got through their biscuits, so we're a little late getting in,
We did.
but it's okay. And we were catching up on.
They were all good too.
They were all good, and we hope you're having a great time on your Saturday, April the 4th, 8:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from the Cornbread Nation Studios live,
Right here in Fort Oglethorpe.
situated right beside the Cornbread Nation River that gently flows through. If you say you can't find it, it's hid. You know, only so many people know where it's at.
That's true. That is true.
It might even be underground. We don't know.
That is a good possibility.
Is a river still a river if it's underground?
Why wouldn't it be? I've got one that's better than that. If a tree falls in the middle of a forest and nobody's around, is the man still wrong?
I don't know.
The answer is yes. The man is.
I was just gonna wait and see.
Apparently.
I was gonna wait and see where you went with that.
Well, I was going to go somewhere else, but I decided not to. Because my wife does watch this.
Yeah, you don't want to get in trouble.
No, but I'm going to see if I can find that video about me being right one time. Did get video.
You're in trouble if your wife ever heard you say something wrong. You get to the house and the door is open, and there's a suitcase on the porch. That would be like, oh, I messed up bad.
Well, there might not be a suitcase. It might be all out in the front yard.
Well, that's happened too to a lot of men. Come and get your stuff.
Yeah.
And by the time they get there, it's all strode across the yard and everything else.
Or in a nice, neat pile on fire.
Well, there's been that happen too, no doubt.
Yep.
Well, prayers for our military.
Most definitely.
And I wanted to dive in this morning just for a little bit for the people in the back row that are stupid. And I hate to say it that way, but they're stupid. And first of all, I want to say we're still looking. From my understanding, we're still looking for one pilot. They don't have him, and we're still working to get to him. We will get our man. We will get him back.
Oh yeah.
So there's been a couple of planes hit, a helicopter was shot at, and everything. First of all, the stupid people are mostly media, and media people ask some of the stupidest questions about these operations. And they take one phrase and they say, "Well, I thought we owned the skies over Iran." Listen, anybody can get a lucky shot off. Anybody. Right. It only takes one heat-seeking kind of thing, a drone. Just because we own the skies, they're not taking planes up in the air and shooting us out of the sky.
But they still have these batteries that are hidden.
They do. They're hidden in caves. And we're trying to get to those.
And in school.
And they're probably getting Chinese and Russian technical help, on how to hit us and all that. So of all the sorties, we flew over 10,000 sorties over Iran. And this is it. This is all that and the refueling was not there. They didn't do that. That was us. It was just a mishap in the air. Things can happen. I think we still own the skies. Secondly, media, you're so stupid. Not everybody on the ground is a friendly. There are going to be people that don't like us and they're going to fire at us. Plus, they put a bounty out on getting this pilot, getting him, so they can have him and mock him before the world.
Right.
So, okay, there's going to be some people firing back. We'll take care of those. We have all kind of ordnance and weapon fire to take care of them. Those little shots they were firing up in the sky didn't do anything. It was just a bunch of farmers on the ground, with an AK. Everybody's got an AK, and they fire up in the sky.
Right.
And, so the media wants to turn it like all of a sudden Iran is taking it to us and they're in control of things. No, they're not. Our military is still just as active and just as doing whatever they need to do. These are mop-up operations that must happen.
Right.
But let's pray for his, and they say, well, it doesn't matter he or a she, but I think this particular one it's a he. So we do have both, and let's get him back. Let's get the operation. And this is an escalator, no doubt. If they were to get this guy and start parading him before the world and beating on him and mocking him and feeling like they're going to cut his throat, Tehran would be rubble. I will promise you that. This president will not put up with that.
No.
But they're just these people. They ask these stupid questions. They don't even understand military operations, and they just ask stupid things. And it's really the American know-how that has helped us to evade any kind of problems till now. And I just get so tired of and I'm sorry, I've never liked what's the one they have for Fox News, Griffith or whatever, the one with the real short hair now. She constantly gets on my nerves. I actually agree with her assessment the other day. She actually had a coherent thought, because sometimes she tries to talk a whole lot and act like she knows more than anybody else when she don't know anything. She's just going through news reports anyway and trying to act like it's her sources. No, it's not. I think in this case, they're not even feeding her much information. This is not the old days. She don't have the same connections.
Right.
But anyway, the media and she was trying to act like she knew something the other day. She said, we can't report that because we have to wait, till it's the proper time and all this. You don't know nothing, lady. The operations are ongoing. They know what's going on, and they'll get this guy. And a military operation like this, you're going to lose people, planes, helicopters, boats, etc. Iran has plenty of missiles and ammo, and so do the tribes and random people in Iran. Excellent point, and that's my point to this is it's a miracle that we haven't had that before. And, we'll get our man. We'll get him.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll mop up the field with whoever is trying to get him. It will be, there won't be nothing left on the ground if these people were to grab him and they didn't give him back. It would, if they kill him, it's gone. It's on, but let's pray that they're getting back. Hopefully today, it's probably, well, right now it's probably nighttime over there.
Yeah.
And to give you some idea of the size of Iran, Paul? Do you have an idea? I looked this up. I didn't know this. How big Iran is?
About the size of Texas. Isn't it?
Actually, it's twice the size of Texas. It is about the size of Alaska.
Okay.
And if you placed Iran on the eastern seaboard, it would stretch from Maine to Florida. So this is a big country.
Okay.
You see something on a map. This is a big country. There's a lot of targets, a lot of sites. They've had all these decades to put,
Biden,
silos and whatever else. Wherever they want to put
Biden
them.
and Obama paid for most of it. They
Yeah.
send them billions of dollars. Here, don't whatever you do, don't develop a nuke. Oh no, we wouldn't think of doing that.
Yeah. Every president has had the same intel, and every president avoided the question because they all had the same assessment. This president said they're getting too close. We're going to take care of it. And I know people get mad and they think it's all Israel and everything. I have this country, the leadership of it being neutralized and do a great deal back to fighting with sticks and whatever. And I know that's probably not where they're going to go, but as far as we can get them there, that's probably a good thing for the region, for the world. They're fanatical. They're nuts. And to the people that said that they passed a law that said they would not use a nuclear weapon. Do we really trust that any of these guys follow the law, their own laws, or anybody else's?
I'm sorry.
Come on.
The Quran says that they are supposed to lie to infidels.
As long as
it's given.
Yeah.
They can lie to infidels.
Yeah.
They are going to lie.
The king of this was Yasser Arafat. And he would say in English, we want to be at peace with our friends. We want an agreement. We're here to be friends with all. And then he would turn around in Arabic and he would tell all of his people, don't worry, I must lie to advance our cause.
Yes.
And everybody knew this. And by the way, the American leaders knew this too. They just let the American people run dumb because they wanted to make deals and say that they had a peace agreement. I mean, you remember when Clinton was trying to force together the two sides, Israel and Yasser Arafat and all that. And it was all a joke.
It was a big joke.
The big joke. Those agreements didn't mean anything. It was all just to promote to the American voters, I'm the president that got peace. And, we always, I loved it when they had his little bunker, his little compound blasted out and they had the tanks surrounding everything. Powell went over for the last time to try to work with this guy, he was so bad that nobody wanted him in their country. The Jordanians kicked him totally out, him and all his followers, because of the disruptions he was causing in their nation.
Yeah.
Nobody liked this guy because they would turn on anybody. They'd stab anybody in the back. They didn't care. They were out for themselves. Well, the Iranians are like that. The leadership, not the Iranian people, but the leadership. But listen, I think we heard it said that there was 90 million people in Iran. Let's say it's 90 million. And even Annie Cyrus says that about 70% of the people are not for them. That leaves 30% of the people of 90 million that would be supportive of the regime as it is. That's a lot of people with guns on the ground that would love to put a bullet between the eyes of an American pilot. There's a lot of people that hate us there still. There's 2/3 of the country may want us there to help free them from the vice that's around their neck. But there's a lot of people there that would just as easily like to kill us. So yeah, they're going to come out fire, and they would like the bounty money.
Definitely.
You can turn anybody into an animal with money. Anybody.
Money, it can definitely corrupt. it definitely can. But money itself is just a tool. It's the love of money, or the love of anything you put before God. That's the terrible thing. But our past presidents caused all this. But I saw an interview with Trump back in the 80s with Barbara Walter, and Trump's been saying the same thing since the 1980s about Iran and what we need to do.
Yeah.
And now he's doing it. He's very consistent in what he says.
And there's some other bad boys. I mean, Yemen is a country fraught with terrorists. They don't get along with anybody in the region either. I mean, there are some other nations, but the Abraham Accords was to try to build a coalition against those kinds. And
Yep.
there's still some countries they think they can bring into the coalition, to the agreement. There's some that will never do that, at least not in their present form. Iran was not going to do it. Iraq's not going to do it, and Yemen wouldn't do it. And there's probably a couple of others, that are just radicalized all the way throughout the country, and they're just built upon hate. I mean, their neighbors, don't get along with them. If anything, what it should show the neighbors. Good morning, Dean Potts. The one of the things that just kills me about people defending Iran is they're firing on their own friends, so-called countries around them, who are letting Americans use bases or have people start. So they're shooting into the business sector of their states. Your friends don't do that. You may be angry with them, but if they're really your friends, you're not firing a drone or a missile into the heart of, say, New York City. You know what I mean? You would be firing at targets in the ocean or whatever,
Right.
not into maybe it would be an American.
That would be
base.
like Canada fire.
They didn't go. They didn't go offline that much. They were trying to hit the business district to strike fear in the people in those nations.
Yeah.
Those nations around them quietly are clapping at all that's happening. Some of them openly, more openly now than they ever were before. These countries, they don't like Iran. They don't trust them, and they know they'll get stabbed in the back. So, of any country over there, Yemen may be another one, and the Houthis and all that crap. Iran is one that you can get a lot of consideration over there in that region, because they can't handle Iran. They can't handle it. They've got some military hardware that we've sold them, but even Saudi Arabia, nobody over there can handle this problem by themselves. They can't do it. And if they try, then they don't want to be firing on their own, so-called.
Right.
But they love what America's doing, and that's why they're supportive of it. Doing good, man. How's Dean Potts? Sorry I didn't get back with you last night.
Chaser?
Man. I wasn't feeling the best last night. I just spent some time with my wife. I was helping her, and so we'll do it again, brother. We're gonna have to get you on the air while we're doing that. You be our roving reporter. We're gonna have to get you on the air with us. That'd be fun. Broski, Charlotte, and Tehran are nearly on the same latitude.
Nessman.
I didn't know that.
That's going to be Dean. Les
Nessman. Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting that they're on the same latitude. Interesting. Broski, hi, Dean. I know. I don't know if it goes all the way to BB. I'm not know if I'm agreeing with that, but I do know that high reaches of the government knew that was going to happen, because Israel's not that low, that lax on their security. They would allow that to happen. There were people that wanted that to happen so they could open up this front, and if it was, it was. I ain't saying it's not. I'm saying I don't know that, but they've never answered to this date how come the security lax was so bad, because this was not all of a sudden Palestinian ingenuity.
No, these are what we call black flag events. I think 9/11 was a black flag event. I think that we were hit by our own.
But we still were hit by terrorists. It may have had those tentacles, but they were definitely those people in control of those planes flying into buildings and stuff.
There are just so many. There are so many things that don't make sense. I don't know. I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not going to wade knee deep into.
Feel free. I just, however you want to. I just, I see the people that think that. I mean, even the people that think there wasn't a plane that went in a building, like it was all just a computer generated bullshit. No, it wasn't. There were people on the ground that saw all this happen. Yeah. There were people. There was a video of it. Those things were all not recreated, but. And he may not have. I won't disagree. But I have no problem that he got blasted in Pakistan or wherever he was at.
The morning of 9/11, who was having breakfast with old man Bush, right?
I've heard this, but I don't remember.
Well, it was Bin Laden's parents.
I don't remember that.
Yes, they were in the United States, in Texas.
But he did. But his parents
breakfast with them.
His parents didn't have any dealings with it. They had.
They had a construction company, and they were dealing with Halliburton and all that stuff.
Well, his family didn't. They were estranged. They did not like. Apparently, from everything I've ever read, he was on the outs with his family.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there can't be some connections there. What I'm saying is that the Bin Ladens family did not like, Osama. I mean,
Well, they didn't. They disagreed vehemently with his ideals anyway.
because the Bin Ladens, you know this, they were in deep with the royals in Saudi Arabia, so that they were guaranteed to get construction projects.
Right.
And there's no way they would have let their son. They would normally go along with their son to do damage towards Saudi Arabia. So he was also going after Saudi Arabia leadership.
Yeah.
And so all these people, that does tie to America because of all that money and flowing back and forth between the Clintons and the Bushes or whoever.
Yep.
Saudis have had their hands in the pockets of American politicians for decades. So if he was messing up anything for the money line, they would have been totally against him for that. Even if they hated him.
I think there's a lot more to it than what we've been told.
You were at Rossville Mills on 9/11. A young dean.
Young Dean.
A Ross Million.
Ross Million.
Well, it's like a little city, or it was.
Yeah, the Ross Mill was. Sure enough.
There's a lot of questions nowadays about what to do with that. They've got a couple businesses there. If people want to see it totally redone. That's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you why it won't ever totally be redone. Because of the expense. They have soil problems there, and they also have asbestos problems on parts of that property. And nobody's going to spend the money it would take to get it cleaned up enough to have a business of any kind in certain sections of that mill. And there's things there that goes all the way back that the city knows about that, that they've argued about the drainage and the sewage and all that stuff. They're still, and I don't know that anybody knows the full facts of the whole thing. I know it's been an ongoing battle, but parts of the facility can be used, parts of it cannot. So I think they do need to decide. They need going to have to. Nobody wants to pay for it. Even to demo it would be very expensive to get those parts taken out. But there's some parts of that place that there's no way you can restore it and use it anyway. It's just so destroyed.
Yeah.
The mold, the asbestos, and all that, which nobody wants to talk about. You try to ask anybody, and they get evasive on it anyway. But
they wanted to put a bunch of high-end condos in there at one time.
Yeah.
And they couldn't because of all that. Not without major lawsuits in the future.
And there's something else, doesn't it? And that, boy, I'm going by memory, which is scary. Doesn't it layer? Is it in city and county, or is it all city? There's something about that crosses through there. There's some, I can't remember what it was now. It may all be sure. City, but there was something about it I remember. I met a couple of times after 9/11, one of the first responding firefighters 9/11. He was best friends with one of my best friend's dad. Only surviving member of his battalion. He went into hiding. Wow. Other mill that burned is still standing. Well, the parts that they need to take down, then they could maybe do something there. But like I said, nobody's going to want to. Rossville don't have the money. Let's just face it. They don't have the money to do that. He says it's all the city, but there's something about the drainage of that place that has something to do with not just the city. I'm telling you, I can't remember now what it is.
It might go into Tennessee because it's right on the Tennessee line.
They do. Walker County has upgraded their. The county has upgraded their where they're not sending as much because Chattanooga was charging so much money. I think some of it still goes there, and it maybe have to do with that. But that's a boondoggle nobody wants. Nobody wants that thing. Rossville can't afford to do the cleanup cost on that, and no company is going to come in and want to. I mean, why would you? Because once you take ownership of that, that becomes yours.
In that area, I don't think any big industry is going to come in. I don't think there's going to be a lot of anything come in because of the area and how it has went downhill over the years.
It has. They've done some things, but it's still a mess. There's a lot of crime in that part of town. Yep. Coming over the state line, yes, but it's there. The more they build up the residential, the more it'll push back. But you're always going to have problems on that end of that city and county because of the Tennessee side. The Tennessee side's a mess.
Oh, yeah.
They don't clean it up.
East Lake is terrible.
Crime is rampant over that side.
East Lake used to be one of the most beautiful places in Chattanooga, and it's not anymore.
They trusted Dean to load trucks.
What?
That's what he said, loading trucks. Can you imagine Dean on a lift truck flying around?
Wow.
Thinking he's Bill Elliott back in the day, trying to load the trucks, popping wheelies.
I know I used to ride wheelies in reverse.
Yeah. I mean, part of it's a dump hole. Let's just be honest. People have this nostalgic look about you have to have some realism in it too. It's not what it once was. There are parts that they have been able to restore and use, and it looks good. There are parts that are a falling in dump hole, and there's nobody wants to tackle it. Nobody can afford it. I mean,
it's crumbling.
Well, let me tell you this. Here's what you run into, and I'm going to give you an example. There was a lady I met. She come in to do some. She ran her own company, but we brought her in to do some hearing noise testing. But she has her own company. Well, she was telling me about, and by the way, Broski, this might have been in Charlotte. If I remember back, I think this might have been in Charlotte. But regardless of where it was at, she was telling me she did a lot of different things. She was a multifaceted company. But one of her jobs at the present time, she was tasked to come in and test. They wanted to do a demolition on a building near the downtown. Well, she got up there and started doing testing, and she peeled back some of the wall, and she saw the black mold. She saw all the stuff, the asbestos and everything, and she stopped where she was at, and she wrote a number down, and she said, "This is what it'll cost you to take this down." And they said, "There ain't no way."
Yep.
And so they started trying to fight it in the courts. They tried to put her information to the side, and if I remember right, and what they wanted to do, but she was telling them, if you don't clean this the right way, one, you're going to create an environmental disaster. Two is you're going to be sued heavily, and the government's going to come after you because you are dealing with asbestos, and you can't just come in here and take put dynamite in here and take this thing to the ground. You're going to send an asbestos cloud up into the air, and you're going to make a lot of people sick. You have to do this, and it's going to be expensive. And I don't know what they ever did about it, but she said it's a mess because somebody bought that property. They didn't do their due diligence. They wanted to build something there, and now they're left with a mess. Yeah. I don't know that it's that bad at Rossville Mills, but somebody's going to have to clean that up. If you buy it, it's yours. Yeah. It's yours. So,
Broski, I agree with you there. I've seen my share of demolitions on buildings. That was a straight up demolition job on the Twin Towers. The demolition job. Yeah, the planes might have crashed into it, but metal don't melt like that those buildings were built to absorb a jetliner crash. That's what the engineers said. They were built to absorb that, and they found thermite sprayed onto the main columns. They found, there's just a lot of things that don't make any sense when it comes to the Twin Towers. And building number 7. Why did it go down? It didn't have a plane hit it, but yet it imploded. Went down just like it was a straight up demolition job.
This will be talked about for generations.
Many, many years, yes. And unfortunately, we will probably never know the truth. I don't know, bud. Don't know. I know there's I've heard that the plane over Pennsylvania did not crash; it was shot down. That there is video evidence of it being shot down. That they hit it. But like I said, these are things they're conspiracy theories. They could be true. They could not be true. We probably won't ever know. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. What's next?
Paul said he's hit his 9/11 ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like a cat or a dog chasing its tail. When you finally grab a hold of it, what are you gonna do with it? You know.
I was at the plant. I was actually listening to Moody Bible Radio, and the rest is history.
I had just got home from work at the plant.
I stayed at work all day. There were a lot of people thought maybe we need to go get our families, but it settled down and we just stayed.
Yeah,
it was a very sad day.
It was a very sad day. I was actually sitting in my driveway talking to, I don't know if this particular Cordell is related to you, but he used to be a
Johnny.
Yeah.
No, we never could find a connection.
Okay. Me and Johnny.
No, I like Johnny. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy.
They always said about Johnny that there was not a skirt he wouldn't chase.
You got that right.
Did I nail it?
You nailed it. But
he didn't call anything, is what I always tell him. He didn't call anything.
No.
He was a lover, not a fighter.
That he was. But,
great guy. I love Johnny. Johnny, if you ever, I don't even know if, I guess Johnny's still with us. I don't know. If you're out there, Johnny, love you, man.
He and I were sitting in my driveway when that happened. We were sitting in the driveway talking, and came over the news, and we ran inside the house and turned the TV on and saw the second one hit. But yeah, it was a sad day. Sad day when all that happened.
I know people who worked at Merrill Lynch. I got my daily closing bond process from a young lady who worked there. She was trampled in the stairwell on the way out and shattered her leg in 20 places. Wow. Oh, it was mass chaos. What I've always said, she survived, was back up and running in Jersey. Wow, amazing. I've always said, I know the type of person I am. Some people say, well, you don't know what you do till an emergency happens. One thing I can tell you is I would have came down out of the building. Once that first building, no matter if I was in the first one, if I could get down, I've been out, and I would not have went back into either one of those buildings the rest of that day. I can tell you that. I would have said, no way, I'm out. I don't care what they were, because they were people, they were businesses that told their employees, it's good going back, blah, blah, blah. No, I would not have done that. I know me. I would not have done that. I would have.
I'm surprised they even allowed them to say that.
I don't think it'll be allowed ever again, because they were companies that looked really bad, because you do not send people back until you have
a burning building.
Yeah, you don't do that.
No, you don't. I don't care how confident you are.
You can't send people back into a dangerous situation. You would want the people out of the way so you can work the situation.
Exactly right.
Dean thought it was a Tom Clancy book reading.
Sounded like one.
Well, it was a horrible day in our history, and every year, people they say people forget, and they moved on. I will never forget it. I will never not honor our American heroes who was taken out. They just were people trying to do their job, the firemen, whoever, and to be done that way, just horrible. And I think one of the most sickening things that I've ever heard was the video where they're down in one of the buildings. I can't remember which one, if it was two or one, but anyway, you hear the body smacking the ground, the people that jumped, or overhangs and stuff. You could hear that. That's maybe the most sickening thing, and watching them too was horrible. I mean, you have a choice: burn alive, or try to climb down or jump. I mean, those are horrible things. I can't think of anybody that would think that, think that was, not sickening. That's just horrible to watch that or hear that. I was listening to Howard Stern on my radio on the way to work when the first plane hit. I watched the second one on TV at the office. I graduated in 2000, so I was only about a year into my first real job. Wow. And that's the thing, that I would have already been leery anyway of working in those buildings because of the hit that they attempted before that. I don't want to be up in a something that's that tall in the sky, but that's me. You know, a lot of people love that. They love being up those buildings, the prestige of it, working for a major company in maybe the most major city in the world, in a building that's tall. I'm sure that was, people go up the top and tourists and all that. Me myself, I would have never wanted to be in a top floor of a building like that. I just would not. That's not something I would enjoy doing. But some people really really like that. So but from the first hit, and what was the first one? It was when did they hit it with a bomb in the basement of it, the car bomb? What was that? Was what year was
98, I believe.
90? Yeah, 98. I think you're right, something like that.
Yep.
Spartan says that Israel did 9/11 to get the USA to fight their stupid wars. Iran war is still based on that false flag.
I've heard.
I get it. I don't buy all the way into that. And there may be, yes, there are reasons that Israel's involved in all this, but the USA has its own things too. I mean,
we do.
And I know, 1993. That's right, Dean. 1993. Help us with facts. Fact checker.
Love it.
But again, you're going to get a lot of different opinions, a lot of different opinions. So the fact is that over 3,000 Americans died. Those are facts. And for whatever made that happen, it's a horrible tragedy and stain on our nation. And it will never be the same after that. I will say this, that the biggest thing that hurt us beyond those loss of lives and property is the Patriot Bill Act or whatever the spying on American citizens escalated to a point we still hadn't recovered from. No, we have not recovered from that, and it's unconstitutional what has happened.
Yeah, it is.
He says multiple Mossad agents arrested on 9/11.
I've heard that as well.
There was a video going around for a day and a half of the Cessna packed with bombs that flew in the Pentagon. People who believe that 757 flew in the Pentagon are foolish.
I have seen video of a
Tiffany. Hello.
Missile
How are you today? Solving 9/11, the Deception That Changed the World by Christopher Boylan. This book explains it. Okay. Spotted.
So, happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter and this great weekend.
All that matters is that Jesus Christ is King and He is coming back.
Without a doubt, He will settle all the scores.
Yeah. Yep.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
That's exactly right.
Here locally, I'm not quite right in our region, but was some tragedy. A bus ventured over the center line and hit a dump truck, I think that belonged to the city, and a couple of students were killed, many injured. And that's
it happened last
somebody. Well, yeah, there's been some lawsuits filed already. Morgan and Morgan. Some of the people came into the chat of that story and said something. I don't believe. I believe this day it's still not this way, and they don't know what they're talking about. But the law firm said it too, and I don't know that they're going to maybe change anything with this. Well, one, we don't know what happened to the driver. Some said they may have had a stroke or whatever. I get it. They're going to get some money, but one of the things in the lawsuit, I wanted to talk about this morning. One of the things that they talked about was that there were no seatbelts on the bus.
I've never seen a bus with seatbelts.
We don't do that. They say it's actually unsafe for the kids to have seatbelts. And they don't do it for whether you think they should or they shouldn't. I've never rode a school bus that had a seatbelt on it.
Ever.
A traveling bus, yes. We did school field trips on like a Greyhound top bus or something like that. Yes. But never on school buses do you have seatbelts. But that's in this lawsuit by Morgan & Morgan. That's one of the two main things they've charged them with for neglect is the seatbelts. Has anybody ever rode a school bus, the yellow school bus, with seatbelts?
I haven't
either. Is that something that's unique?
But then I haven't ridden many school buses.
Is that something that's unique to our region, or is it different across the world? I just don't know. It's all biblical. We're all catching up to the Bible timeline. It's already happened in a sense because God has already spoken.
Yes.
We're just catching up with that. So yes, it is all biblical.
Yeah, this was planned before the foundations of the world.
168 dead. Iranian military school with 3 tomahawks. Trump should be charged with child murder and treason.
How do you know the 3 tomahawks hit it?
I've heard different things about this, and I'm not sold.
Listen, I've seen Iran murder their own people for too long, and I would not put it past them to blow their own up.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to investigate. I think it has been, but let's get.
Don't be too quick to jump the gun.
Get some independent on that. We should investigate it, and I'm sure that I would hope that we are. And if there's people that, if you could say without a shred of doubt that someone did this on purpose, then yes, they should be charged to the fullest extent of the law. Whoever authorized it and whoever did it. But yeah, that's a big jump to say. I'm just saying. I think that's a big jump.
I will say this: they have jamming technology over there too. All right, they could have, if it was a tomahawk, they could have jammed the signal and threw it off by several meters. And so this is the thing: why were there missile launchers in a school? You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, that's something they do across the Arab
so
world.
That they can have these types of things.
And although you are correct that we do, and they do that, and we do that, but don't think that Iran is not just killing a lot of innocent people. They may be doing those people, but they're killing a lot of other people too. They're killing a lot of people. They're rounding them up by the droves right now and killing them. I mean, anybody they can think that might be involved in the uprising in Iran, they're killing them. So, but I'm not. I love Iranian people. Do not like that Iranian leadership. So, says
Trump's giving them plenty of time as far as the bridges go. He told them. He said, "Listen, we don't make a deal. We're going to start escalating this."
And I don't have a problem with that. I think you have.
I think you ought to tell everybody to get out of Tehran and level it. Tehran, excuse me.
As I said, let it be investigated. If there's a problem, whoever authorized that. First of all, you could say, well, Trump authorized it. How do you know he authorized it? I mean, where's the proof that he authorized a hit on a school? I mean, that's loose talk. I'm sorry. You've got it.
I mean, it's BS is what it is.
And I don't hate Israel. So we're going to disagree, Spartan. And I know this. I always dance the line with you. I love the Israeli people. I may not like everything the Israeli government does, but I'm not against Israel. I'm not against Iran. I just want bad people to not be in charge of Iran. That's what I would say. Has Israel done some things they shouldn't? Well, sure. Have we done some things we shouldn't as America? Sure.
Well, yeah.
But there is a big difference between us and the leadership in Iran, the mullahs and stuff. I mean, we're not having public hangings and chopping hands off of people in the nation, and we're not making women walk down the street in burqas and stuff like that with electric shocks being applied to their body if they don't, and beating them to death and stuff. We got problems in our nation.
You want to live, take your butt and go. I mean, that's
but
the way I say it.
Iran is not a wonderful place.
Sharia law here in the United States, no.
And there may be. Again, if that's the case, then it'll be handled. But to the American citizens, I heard this on. I'd say there's a lot of people. I
will agree with that. There,
we agree on a lot of stuff, and I'm not against a public hanging anymore. I'm just saying that they just grab up whoever without even a trial, and they just throw them up there and kill them. They'll drag them behind the vehicles down the streets. I mean,
especially Christians.
Well, yeah. I mean. But, if someone's guilty of doing something, prove it and then penalize. But I will say this, these American idiots that are saying, like James Carville that I said the other night, that are wanting the ICC that we don't even recognize to be able to come in and grab American citizens and pull them out and put them on trial. No, I don't want that organization in our country, because that organization will be fully against America and all of its leadership. They want to be able to get into your nation and pull people out. They don't even have to have your approval. If you agree to support them, if you agree to sign on, we did not. If you agree to sign on to following the ICC, then they have the ability to reach into any state in the United States and pull out whoever they want and charge them with war crimes. Yep. With no American.
I have the right to defend myself in this country.
Yeah, I'm not for that.
Ugly, trust me.
But yeah, I'm for the death penalty, and I'm for the hanging is still legal in some cases in very few areas. You can still do firing squad. That's happened recently. Of course, they do the shot, and in some cases, they still have the electric chair. It depends, but public hanging would not be. I wouldn't want my kids at that. Let's be honest. I would not want a child to be at a public scene. I just me myself, because that is a violent thing. But we militarily, you can still be hung. Military, we hung Saddam Hussein. You can hang. Military justice still has that. So. It was wrong yesterday. We do not hang criminals. Well, we do have those that defend to the nth degree someone just because of race or color or whatever. I look at it with no color. Paul said this the other night. I don't see color. I either see a good person or a person that's did bad, and you're judged on what you've done and who you are, not what you are, not the color, not the way you speak, not where you're from or any of that.
I don't judge anybody.
I don't do that.
Pretty much. I try my best not to, but there's some things that I'm human.
And just because we've
had diplomatic relationships with Iran.
We did. It was broken.
40 years.
It was broken by them.
Yeah, exactly. We had a great relationship with Iran for decades before the caliphate took over.
I would agree with that statement, Bresky. Yes, they do want that, and they do play perpetual victims. So there is that. I agree with that. I agree with that.
I think the black community's waking up, and they're realizing.
Well, he's saying libtards. I get it. He's not talking.
I know, but I think the black community's waking up
to
the libtards.
They're coming.
They're waking up.
The black vote has swung quite a bit. It's ever so slowly, but it has been peeling away from extreme leftist, and they've been coming more center, if not straight on to the right. And many of them are very supportive of president. And you remember the grandma that came up there and told the black community to get off his back?
Yeah.
She loved that man. I mean, there are people that saying, listen, we're not stupid. Quit thinking you got our vote in your back pocket and treating us like you do.
The Democrats think that they're stupid. That's what they think. And nothing could be further from the truth, But the thing is, I want to stop talking, the black community or the Hispanic community or this community or that community. We're all Americans. And if you don't want to be an American, get out. Leave. Get out.
Well, there are people.
The border's wide open.
There are people that here that
going out, not coming in.
Want to stay in and change America from the inside out.
That's
the Trojan horse.
Straight up art of war. That's straight from the book.
Well, yeah.
Destroy it from the inside.
Communist Manifesto.
So yeah.
And we have a lot of powerful people in our nation that are
communists.
That are communists, or they are socialists, or they're both, or they feel that way, or they hate America, and they're
mainly morons.
There is that. I mean, there's no doubt that there's that going on for sure. Good morning to all those on Instagram and other places that have been coming in.
Good morning. Good morning.
We appreciate you on X. Quite a few listening from there. Twitch, YouTube.
Shout out to all
probably some Facebook folks out there as well, and Rumble. And we appreciate you. We got quite several in here from Rumble. Appreciate you. A happy Saturday. It's going to rain tonight, I think, Rob Paul, is it not?
We're definitely supposed to get little showers, but tonight I think around 1 o'clock in the morning. So we're supposed to get some pretty strong stuff.
The weather
we usually have for some reason on Easter here lately. The past decade or so, we've been having some pretty strong storms around Easter. It might even been longer than that. I just hadn't been paying attention until lately, I guess.
What is the storm that you dread the worst? Like you say, wow, this is the one that. What kind of system do you? It makes you think a little bit more. You pay a little bit more attention.
Well, any strong thunderstorm system, that is producing hook echoes. Through radar, I definitely pay attention. We've had too many tornadoes around here.
Yeah, and I would pay attention to that. The one that bothers me more than that is the straight line winds, which affect a wider area.
Yep.
And those downbursts you get off of that are even more destructive than a tornado, because a tornado usually just touch down, do some damage to a building or two and up. There has been those that stayed down and did some water damage.
Yeah.
but the straight line winds affect more of an area. It's much wider, and the wind speed.
And they come out of nowhere.
They do, and it's that's what worries me is both of them, but more so the straight line wind events.
Speaking of straight line winds, about 4 years ago, we had a storm system rolling through, and I was standing at my front door, and I saw this blue blur go by my front door.
Good morning, Jen.
We have those big blue garbage cans that weigh about 80 pounds. The wind was blowing so hard coming over the ridge because it blew it down. It picked my garbage can up and blew it an entire block down the road.
Wow.
There wasn't a tornado. It was just straight line wind.
It happens. It happens. Jen, you up for doing a pet show tomorrow? I was really busy last Sunday. I had a lot going on.
Oh, by the way, speaking of pet show, I have spoke with someone that is interested. I'd like to give them a shout out to Golden Rule. They are a mobile pet grooming company. They're the ones that take care of Howie.
Oh, cool.
And I spoke with them, and they'd like to come on to the pet show, and talk about, answer any questions about grooming or, the things that they do, like, teeth and toenails and all that stuff. They do all that good stuff.
I would love to have them in. We would love to have them in. Jen, anytime they would like to. So those are great things to get. And it looks like they did a really good job on Howie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they always do.
I noticed he got groomed and then he comes on the show. Like, he's sitting in one.
He had to get a haircut.
He had to get a haircut, get all groomed
Mama
up for the
wasn't gonna
show.
let him come back on the show without getting a haircut.
Well, he did come in by way of his home
Yeah.
with you. And so then it was his first time in the studio.
That was his first time in the
He
studio.
made himself at home. I mean, he was laying on the floor at times, snoozing.
Yep.
He was up in the chair looking around. He was driving Paul crazy at times, because he wanted attention.
Well, he thinks he's a lap dog still. He's close to. He's right at 90 pounds.
He's a big dog. He loves to be pet a lot.
A lot.
It's have you ever went in one of those grooming? I mean, did you take? I guess you said mobile, so they come there.
Yeah, they come to the house.
Have you ever been in a grooming place like that? I walked in one day. I was going to talk to them about coming on the show. They were supposed to get back with me and haven't, but it's like all those. But they must have had 20 animals in there.
Yeah, it's
Some in
controlled
cages.
chaos.
It is. It was loud because you got all these animals communicate with each other,
Yeah.
workers working, and the sound of the clippers and all that going on. It was like, I don't like you said, it was like controlled chaos. I was like, good gosh. Oh,
Yep.
you almost couldn't hear yourself speak. It was that loud. It's like, dude.
You get used to it, I'm sure.
Well, I would just put music in and
Well, yeah. Go to town.
Howie is 90 pounds.
Yep.
He's a big dog.
He is.
You can hear it when he jumps down. You can hear the weight of it. You definitely hear
thick.
that. He's thick. He's solid. There's not a bunch of hanging skin like he's.
No, he's solid muscle. He runs. He gets about maybe not as much here lately because of I've been trying to reseed my yard, get all the places fixed where he's destroyed it. But he usually gets at least 2 hours of cardio a day just chasing a frisbee. But I haven't been doing that as much here lately.
I think I've mentioned this before, but do you know speaking of grooming and the one part of your body that is usually visible that you cannot hide that shows your age?
Your ears.
I've always heard it was the elbows. When you release, they wrinkle up. No matter how in shape you are, your elbows always give you your age away.
Well, I can see that, but
that's what somebody told me one time. But
my ears continue to grow all your life, from what I understand. And I've heard some people say your ears or you're born, but it can't be because if I was born with these ears. Good Lord, I can only imagine how weird I would look as a kid because I look like Dumbo now. A good wind come along, these things start flapping.
Brusky says elbows and ears. So
Well, There you go.
Thank you for that. Good morning, Watchman.
Elbows and ears. Good morning.
And thank you for anything that's communist, remove it. It don't belong here in America.
No.
Um,
And don't try to force it on me. It won't end well.
I guess moving in your neighborhood and going up and knocking on your door and telling them to take your American flag down or something that's offensive to them.
They would be walking away with it stuck somewhere.
Excuse me, sir. Your American flag is offensive to me. I don't like driving past it to my home every day.
I'm not going to say what I
I kind of set you up there a little bit.
You did.
I don't expect you to respond.
That would no, that wouldn't. No, that wouldn't fly. Put it that way.
Oh man! But you see these self-appointed people that they think they can walk up in your yard. Remember the one where the guy had the Trump sign? That video was played at tons, and they didn't know it was electrified. The guy drives along the bike, runs up in there to grab it, was going to take it down, and gets the jolt of their life. That was hilarious.
There's another one.
In this area, there's a lot of political signs. This happens every election cycle. Right. And Miss Jenna was talking about this. She's not running now, but who she's supporting. But there are 3 candidates whose signs are totally disappearing from the area.
Well, yeah.
And I think they caught one person trying to remove one.
I don't doubt it. It's probably
that's theft. These have money attached to them. They're property of people.
Exactly.
And that's
why they're put on public land. Normally. Unless someone, agrees, privately to put one on there.
But there are people that think they can walk up in your yard and just take down a campaign sign.
If I don't know you, you don't need to be in my yard. I've become a crotchety old man, I believe. Because, and I don't mind kids playing in my yard. Just don't start crying when you slip in a pile of dog poo. I don't want to hear it. You've been duly warned. But no, I've got a sign on my front porch: no soliciting.
No soliciting.
And I've there has been one person, I believe, that has disregarded the sign.
I told you about the lady. This has been months ago. I think I mentioned it to you. But the law knocked on my door. This is when the kids were little. We were talking 30 years ago or more.
Right.
And this is nighttime, like 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, yes, sir. And he's asking, is your son named blah, 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 blah? Yeah. I said, well, apparently your son and he plays with this other kid. Yeah, they play together and they appear down there. It's just 2 doors down.
Right.
Well, they were caught smoking, which we definitely didn't allow, but it was not happening at our house. I guess it happened there and they got busted. So the lady calls the law to send them out to tell me that my kid can no longer come to our house.
You've got to be joking me.
And I said, I can't believe there would be a total waste of law enforcement to do this. I said, we're neighbors.
Yeah.
And I said,
crazy.
It's fine. He won't go back down there. He said, now when I leave, he starts giving me like this official, when I leave,
I shut the door.
I don't want to see you down there. I said, listen, buddy, I'm not going down there. You ain't got to worry about me. We're law-abiding citizens. I said, if they want to call the law and have you come out here, and he like kept talking about it. And I'm like, are we done? Like I'm really through with this conversation.
So you're a lot nicer than I am. I would have shut the door mid-sentence. I mean, listen, he's on my property, and if he kept on, I would tell him, that he needed to leave. Come back with a warrant if you want to talk to me. I know my rights.
So I talked to my son about it, and he admitted it, and
right.
He said they were both in on it, and they found some and they did it, but he couldn't believe himself that the law was called. I said, well, don't go back down there, I mean, that's kind of where we're at in America now. These neighbors don't talk to anybody anymore like they used to. And I still have some really good neighbors.
Was it tobacco or something?
Tobacco?
Else?
No, they would never done nothing like that.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
that wouldn't have been found on my street at one time. I mean, nowadays I don't know, but no,
you never know nowadays.
It was a cigarette,
right?
And what kid has not been caught probably doing that
Right.
just as a dare or to try it out or whatever, you know.
Oh Lord, I remember when I was 7 years old, we were making corncob pipe smoking rabbit tobacco.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, you know what rabbit tobacco is. Not a lot of people know what rabbit tobacco is. And, you know, it's funny. I don't ever see it anymore. I guess it's because I'm not out in fields and stuff. But I don't do a lot of bird hunting anymore. But that's where I used to find it growing, you know, is in fields.
The fields. Sounds like a Beatles
song.
song.
Rabbit tobacco. I hadn't seen that in a while.
You know, in the war between the states, they would trade good Southern tobacco for coffee with the Yankee soldiers. They'd do a flag of truce and walk out. And
right.
We had tobacco in abundance, and they didn't, and they had coffee in abundance, which we didn't.
Right.
So it was a good trade. There's stories about even here around the battles of Chattanooga where you hear stories like that. So,
hey, you got any cigarettes over here?
Well, I'm sure it was the pot kind. I don't think.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, I don't think they were getting.
I don't think they were hand rolling them.
I don't think they were getting a pack of Salems, you know.
Right. They didn't have Marlboros or zigzags back then.
Oh man.
Wow.
Well, our hour has flew by, Biscuit Boy.
Already.
We're going to take a short break. We'll probably be back again for another one. But thanks for tuning into the Cornbread Man and Biscuit Boy Morning Show. A lot of different kinds of talk. They used to give away, what did Watchman say? They used to give away free 8 packs of cigarettes at the store. We just got free smoke. Oh.
Yep.
I think every kid, there may be some that didn't. I think every kid has been caught trying it out.
Oh Lord, yes.
My youngest boy, I will tell you what, and I shouldn't have been doing it, but back when I drank, he was just a little boy. He's supposed to be throwing my bottle away. Well, I'd left a little bit in the bottom. I happened to turn and see him turn it up. What did he get? His butt wore out. He saw it and wanted to see what it tasted like, and I turned around at the right time. But I should have been having him do that.
I think they used to put it in my bottle.
All right, folks.
I'm just saying, my parents didn't drink.
Yeah.
Playing. I don't know what happened to me.
What? You can do whatever, you know. People have free will. You know, you can do what you want.
That's true. That's true.
Oh,
have a great day.
Yeah, God bless everybody. It was easier for me to get weed.
Happy Easter.
Easier for me to get weed than cigarettes in high school, Broski says.
Yeah. It was fairly prevalent.
And now it's probably easier to get other things than those two things nowadays in high school. Truth be known.
Wouldn't doubt it. Well, I think it's cheaper.
We'll be back in a minute. See you.
Out on the airwaves, mud soaked and loud. Cornbread man talking, biscuit boy proud. Static crackles like a rattlesnake's tail. Voices rolling like a freight train wheel. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, talking live love and southern joy. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, raise your glass, make some noise. Gravy drips in the southern drawl. Stories thick like the cypress tall. Radio rebels riding wild and free, shouting truths like a storm at sea. Hey, hey, can you feel that? Tray up. Coffee up. The pack is calling.